With just 50 days left before USC kicks off the season, there might be a problem with the offensive line room. A little technical issue. Paperwork. The NCAA. We're going to talk about that next.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you. Thanks for making Locked On USC, again, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching the show on YouTube, don't ask me where to download this podcast. You can download it everywhere, and the show is always free. You never pay. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. On Thursday, On 3 reported that DJ Wingfield, his eligibility, it's in limbo. With barely a month before USC's fall camp opens, right? End of July. That's a good target date. USC's first game, August 30th against Missouri State, beat the Bears. With barely a month to go before fall camp. And the NFL draft right now, it's in the rearview mirror. DJ Wingfield, he's kind of in no man's land. Yeah, USC transfer, offensive lineman. DJ Wingfield is hiring attorney Darren Heitner in his battle to play in the upcoming 2025 season. On 3 has learned Wingfield was believed to have one season of eligibility remaining due to the NCAA waiver for players who have at least one season at a non-NCAA program. The Purdue transfer has not been able to secure that waiver to this point, according to On 3. He previously declared for the NFL draft before entering the transfer portal and transferring to USC. I brought up to Carlos Nicholson before. He was in a similar situation. He had that waiver. It got approved. It looks like he's going to be a part of USC's 2025 roster. I haven't heard anything different. So he was in this situation. And there are a bunch of former junior college players who are kind of caught up in this right now. And the NCAA, they're just taking their time, lollygagging, dragging their feet. You know, I don't know how long it takes to approve these waivers, but for whatever reason, the NCAA has better things to do rather than looking out for the best interest of their student athletes, something they all say they always stand for. Not really, but anyways. We can say that the NCAA is disingenuous a lot. And remember that word, disingenuous. We're going to talk about that in this week's Friday Rant. That'll be in the third segment as usual. So, again, bunch of players dealing with the situation. You got DJ Wingfield. He's hired an attorney, Darren Heitner. He's someone who actually specializes in, NIL kind of stuff, other prohibitive issues that, college student athletes have to deal with. The expectation is that, he's going to have to file a suit, get an injunction, and hopefully that's going to allow him to play this fall. If that injunction is granted, you got to get to that step. So again, DJ Wingfield, 6'4", 320 pounds, offensive lineman. He started his college career at El Camino Junior College here in Southern California. He played 22 games there. He then transferred to New Mexico. That would have been his junior season, but he only appeared in one game. He had a season-ending injury, and then he did the redshirt. He did that whole redshirt thing, and then he played in 9 games at New Mexico as a redshirt junior, and then he ended up transferring to Purdue December of 2023. Once he got to West Lafayette, he started 12 games for the Boilermakers. And, just to kind of tell you what kind of player USC is bringing in, if you appreciate Pro Football Focus, and we have those guys on this show all the time, they have their own, grading system. They graded DJ out with a 65.2 run blocking grade and a 61.5 pass blocking grade. Not great, not terrible, just right there, somewhere in the middle. So you combine that, and then you take his the statistics he put up during that season. He, according to PFF, he allowed 22 quarterback pressures, which also allowed 5 hits on the quarterback and 3 sacks. So again, we're talking about Purdue. I'm not saying it was all DJ Wingfield's fault. Obviously, Purdue hasn't, they have a talent issue right now, and they did last year as well. They're going through a new rebuilding process with a new head coach. We know Zach Hanson is over there as the offensive line coach. Coach Riley spoke about DJ Wingfield this spring when he said this. Really impressive, really impressive. We obviously thought enough of him to sign him. He's probably a little bit better than I thought he was, and I thought he was pretty good. He's one of those guys, you plug him in there, and even at the beginning of spring, it looks like he's been with us forever. If you came here and just watched us, you wouldn't know that he's just getting going with us and in our system, end quote. So with that, keeping that in mind, everyone was kind of assuming, including myself, that DJ was the presumptive starter at left guard. He was in line to start at left guard for USC this year. Now, assuming worst case scenario, he's not going to be able to play. Okay. Who's next up? This is where USC, there's a domino effect here. USC brought Wingfield in for a reason. Experience. There's a lot of depth on USC's roster. A lot of interior lineman depth. There's just not a lot of experience. That's the issue. That's why they brought in DJ Wingfield. It's also why they brought in J-Henri Reed. So you're thinking, all right, well, who's the next man up? Worst case scenario, DJ Wingfield gets the boot from the NCAA. Well, you got Micah Benuelos. You've got Hayden Schrader. Those are the first names that come to mind for me. Don't forget, you got Makai Sena. That's another name that pops into my head right away. I mean, these are second-year guys. They've been in the system. They don't have a lot of game experience. I think Mike is really the only one who's played, and he hasn't played a lot. So is this where Justin Taunu, is he the guy you'll roll in? We know he's that sixth man, so to speak. He could play either tackle spot. He could also play inside. When I talked about the offensive line earlier this week, I brought up, the whole communication aspect. Kind of give you the preview of the offensive line. This is before this news dropped. So, when you're talking about the communication, I'm talking about the signal barker, which is typically the guy, at center. So it's either going to be Killian, it's going to be J-Henri Reed. But I'm not going to go into what if scenario there, but again, I'm not sure how much thought goes into this next man up process, if it's necessary. But, I would think someone who might be looking to play center in the future, he might be a candidate for left guard. So here's the question to the viewers, to the listeners. Is this a setback? I think it's probably too early to get too concerned, but hopefully the NCAA, doesn't drag their feet with the whole issue. I mean, if the paperwork was filed in December, why is it taking so long to make a decision? It's not like look, the rules are different now than they were back in the day when Big Mike Williams challenged the system, him and Maurice Claret. You're allowed to declare for the draft and take your name out of the draft and come back to school. There's a whole bunch of different stuff. But right now, yeah, look, if the NCAA says no and there's no injunction granted, DJ is like twiddling his thumbs. He's got nowhere to go, nowhere to play. Now he's got to get himself ready for the NFL draft. It's not a bad thing, but you want to improve your skill set on the field. Don't forget, remember how long the NCAA waited? I brought up Mike Williams. They waited until August to let BMW know that his playing days were over in college. If I remember correctly, it was like just 2 or 3 weeks before USC kicked off their season. They were in fall camp. That I know for sure. Now, DJ's still working out with the team. I know that. Hit up one of my sources. So there he was hanging out with his teammates at the PRP. I'm going to see if I can gather some more intel. Takes a little bit of time to get some feedback during the summer, especially. Look, I said it at the top. USC has plenty of depth in the offensive line room. Zach Hanson has people, guys he can choose from. They just don't have any experience. That's really the problem. But again, is it a huge problem? Remember the schedule. It sets up really well if you have to break someone new in. Missouri State in 50 days. Beat the Bears. Say it again. Georgia Southern, Clay Helton, they come visiting week after that. And then USC hits the road. They go to Purdue. This would be a perfect opportunity for one of those players that Josh Henson recruited and started to develop. Show up in West Lafayette and say, hey, coach, you were right. Thanks for recruiting me and getting me that scholarship to USC. You just see what I did to your team. All right. Again, I don't know. It's not a big issue, but something we need to, kind of talk about. It just happened. It is relevant. It could affect things. I don't think it'll have a major effect. However, the coaching staff brought DJ in for a reason. You want to have some more experience in that room. You can't just have a Lonnie Noah. You got to have guys who have, been through the wars and played in the Big Ten. That doesn't hurt either, right? He played an entire season at Purdue. He knows the landscape. All right, we're going to talk about NIL. USC is strong. In fact, I don't think they're not denying it. They're like, hey, yeah, we got money. We're going to spend it. Deal with it. And the third segment, I talked about it. Friday Rant. Disingenuous people. I hate fake. Right. That's coming up next. I do it all the time. I'm sure you do it all the time. You just want more money. You want to be able to like me, you want to manage your money better. Well, whether you're growing your savings, planning a big purchase, Monarch Money puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO. It's going to give you full visibility, total control over your finances. And Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all of your accounts, all of your investments, all of your spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building some wealth now. And that's what it's all about. My biggest challenge, I mentioned it, it's managing my spending habits. I'll make it rain. If I'm in a good mood, hang out with Mark. I'll take care of you. Monarch Money makes that so much easier. If I can afford my own personal CFO, so can you. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So Cam Fountain bought his mom a new car. That was back in April. Just out of the blue, said, Mom, thank you. Here's a car. I know it wasn't a birthday present. And if it was a very early birthday present because his mom, she just celebrated her birthday the other day. The other day, literally, I don't know when you're watching this episode of Locked on USC. You should be making your first listen every day. But just the other day, USC offensive line recruit, commit, Kenai Pepe, he just bought his mom a new Cadillac Escalade. Here's the difference. Cam Fountain is a sophomore at USC. Kenai Pepe is getting ready to start his senior season at IMG Academy. That's high school. I love the fact that USC is flexing their NIL muscles right now. Love it. They're not shying away from it at all. They're leaning into it because they can. That's the best part about this. USC is they are in such an advantageous situation. It's got everybody else ticked off and really worried, really concerned. Like I said, remember when I talked about USC's advantage being in LA, USC's fair market value? It's literally 10 times greater than their closest competitor, which ironically is UCLA. So it makes, consider this. USC's market value, if it's 10 times better than UCLA's, and I'm talking about football, that means it's exponentially better than everyone else across the country. Everyone else. I mean, location. And it's crazy when you think about this. Where USC was and where USC is now when it comes to buying in, especially when it comes to these new recruiting rules, USC was really slow to join the party. Kind of hanging out, seeing what was going on, looking for their spot to jump in. And they picked the right time. Maybe 2026, that's when we're going all in. Or it's just a coincidence, whatever. However, I talked about that, the fair market value. Well, Coach Riley agrees. He spoke with Steve Wiltfong about NIL and USC's stronger infrastructure. This is what Coach Riley said. I think NIL, it's like all the other parts of our program. It didn't start off in a good place, and it's just progressively gotten better and better every single year. There are some inherent advantages here with the amount of great supporters we have, all the different businesses housed in Southern California and the Los Angeles area. You start looking forward to things like fair market value, and there's no other place that has what this place has, and those advantages are starting to show more and more. As good as they are now, they're going to be even better this time next year, and the year after, and the next year after that. They're going to be even better than that. I would chalk it up to the momentum and support and belief in what we're doing and taking advantage of being in a place that's unlike any other, end quote. So now you understand why everyone is so concerned with USC's recruiting class. Why they were all coping with, don't worry, it's April, it'll fall apart. Oh, it's May. You think they're going to be able to hold on to everybody? Oh, April, May, gone. June, gone. We're 2 weeks deep into July. August 1st is supposed to be the new deadline date. As far as, rules in place, and, they're going to start the NCAA and the clearinghouse are going to start enforcing these deals. Really? We'll see. But again, this is why everybody is really frustrated with USC's recruiting class. They're number one in the country. USC can buy a recruiting class if they want to. And they want to. They're doing it. They're spending their money wisely, putting it where it needs to go. But when they start winning games on the field, not just the recruiting battles, that's how USC's NIL situation gets bigger, how it gets stronger. It's like Popeye eating a can of spinach. Playing at USC in the Big Ten Conference, mega exposure. And you combine everything, those NIL opportunities start to explode. You have access to Hollywood, the entertainment, the media market where USC is located. I mean, Los Angeles is a global hub. Entertainment, media. It gives USC student athletes all the opportunities that you can't get elsewhere. I mean, you think about all the major companies. For example, here's something. You can do your research on this. Remember when USC partnered up with a company called Stay Doubted? Well, that was to help create Boulevard LLC. It's a third-party agency. Basically what it does is it helps facilitate NIL opportunities like sponsorships and merchandising and events, it uses the LA market to USC's advantage. You also have something called the California Fair Play Act that essentially allows student athletes to earn compensation for their NIL without restrictions on the industries. The California Fair Play Act also, this is where USC is really taking advantage of the situation. It permits high school and community college athletes to capitalize on their NIL, broadening the scope of opportunities compared to states that limit NIL to 4-year institutions. So this early adoption has positioned the California schools, not just USC, as leaders in the NIL landscape. The difference between USC and UCLA, USC has people who will spend money on football. UCLA will do it on basketball. So you got people out there, they can talk about the fake deals and the fake money. Kenai Pepe just said, hold my bottle of Gatorade. I'm making a living. Happy birthday, Mom. So yeah, like I said, USC, they know the situation they're in. Very advantageous. They're not shying away from it. You can see how it's affecting their recruiting class. Mark Bowman, Kenai Pepe, Talanoa Ely, Boobie Feaster, Albert Hill. I mean, how many number one players do you want me to rattle off? Tom Tapui. Yeah. It's a good time to be a Trojan. And like I said, with NIL, once USC starts winning on the field, game over. Game over. You thought Pete Carroll had a good? Yeah, you ain't seen nothing yet. All right, last segment, Friday Rant coming up. Talking about disingenuous people. I was on the recent Big Ten squad show. That's your lead, and that's your tease. It's coming up next. How can anyone who calls themselves a college football enthusiast not believe, truly, they don't believe it, that the NCAA did not jail rape USC? I don't care if you're a Notre Dame fan, a UCLA fan, USC's rivals. If they're being honest, they will admit, yeah, you know what? The NCAA, they screwed USC over. Remember, USC was literally almost put on the SMU deathbed because someone was paying Reggie Bush and his family money based off his name, image, and likeness. Everything that's encouraged today. So you guys know I'm a part of the Big Ten, the Locked On Big Ten Squad panel show. Put that up every Thursday for you. Check out this week. Anyways, we were talking about NIL, the rules, and what the NCAA could possibly do to enforce these rules, right? One of the panelists had the audacity to say, quote, since when has a rule that's been in place that was actually held up and disciplined a team and punished to the full force of the rule or the law? Since when has that ever happened? End quote. Yeah, that was. I'm sure everybody here has watched the Brady Bunch at least once in their lifetime. At least once. You know the opening tic-tac-toe matrix, where everybody's sitting around looking up, left, right, down, saying, acknowledging their family members, even Alice the maid. Well, I'm literally sitting right next to the guy who's asking this rhetorical question about when has the NCAA ever done this? You should have seen my visceral reaction. I'm like, hello, McFly. I'm sitting right next to you. I'm still getting over the sanctions. Trust me, go watch the episode. Watch my reaction. It's literally like, what are you smoking? Are you serious? If I could have reached through the computer screen, I would have been doing the Benny Hill slap. Literally. So everyone's laughing and trying to figure out, is he being serious? And then he doubled down. But I mean, to the fullest extent. That was his thing. I'm sorry. I don't know what the fullest extent is. I mean, 30 scholarships over 3 years, no bowl games, no revenue. Yeah. USC lost every appeal. They took away the Heisman, the national championship, the 34-game win streak. So I'm sorry. This person was either being totally naive or has no clue, or he was just being totally disingenuous. I can deal with the former, but the latter really ticks me off. I can understand if you didn't know all the nuance and everything that was involved, but don't give me an argument where it just doesn't make any sense. Don't do that. It's not just the whole Reggie Bush thing, okay? That was the primer for this. I mean, in general, I cannot stand people when they try and make an argument and they're arguing just for argument's sake. Right? Being disingenuous is bad. It's not good. It's going to take away any type of trust I might have with someone. When someone is insecure, they're not being true to themselves, true to the discussion. No, I know I don't. I can't imagine anybody else would. I can't imagine anybody would want someone saying something to them that they don't really believe. I mean, and let me put it into a recruiting situation, football recruiting. It would be like a coach telling a recruit, you know what, you're going to be the only player I recruit for that position. Don't worry, I'm not going to recruit anybody else. Now, unless that's the quarterback position, the coach knows that's not true. I would hope the recruit prospect knows it as well. But that's being disingenuous, telling a recruit, no, don't worry, I'm not going to recruit anybody else. Can't do that. So it started on the Big Ten squad show, and it got me thinking, yeah, you know what? I don't like people that do that. And I'm not saying he was being disingenuous, but it sure as heck felt like it. I'm going to chalk it up to a little ignorant of the situation. He really didn't quite fully grasp how bad the NCAA treated USC. I mean, seriously. Because there's no way you could make that argument saying, yeah, the NCAA has never done anything. Really? SMU might disagree. I know USC does. I know I do. Okay, there you go. That's it for this episode. That's it for this week. It's been a slow week, but it's that time of the year. But you know what? It's going to start ramping up. Almost did it again. Got Big Ten Conference Media Days coming up. I'll be out there in Vegas bringing you all the highlights, all the news. That'll be coming up in a couple of weeks. And then don't forget USC, Missouri State, August 30th, Coliseum. Beat the Bears. 50 more days. All right. Now that you've made Locked On USC your first listen, your first watch every day, don't forget the Portal Show with Brian Smith. You can catch that on YouTube. And then when you're done with the Locked On Network, get over to wearesc.com. A lot of good stuff. Take advantage of that $1 new subscriber special if you like it. All right. I'll be back again with another episode. So until then, everyone, you know what to do.